What is happening, everyone? Hopefully we're doing all right. Let's get into a new week. So to finish the week off last week, Friday's outlook on that bank holiday played out to a T, which was really, really clean. And then there was a couple of entries. I took a break even, and then obviously it messed around because of the bank holidays, and then NFP took it, so I had to get out. And then NFP obviously prior to that also gave an entry on EU that I couldn't take because of that news as well. I'm happy to take news trades, but I need to be far enough away from my stop loss in order to cover risk and and so on and so forth. Just couldn't do that on Friday, which is fine. So let's get into a new week. We'll start with EURUSD. As you can see, EURUSD, nice and simple here. I'm just looking to continue to sell. Now that's from a fundamental perspective of what I think is going to actually happen with the dollar, the euro versus the dollar, but also some things that I look at is this internal leg here. We've got no breaks of structure, nothing that tells me we're retracing through this point, at least what I can see so far. Yes, we've got the daily break of structure, and yes, that's a really good take of liquidity to kind of push through this. But like I said, we've created no structure, so I'm going to use this as my internal range. Now, the reason I like this is we've actually got the extreme and the decisional all in one point off of this point here, which is quite clean. We've come all the way up and actually reacted off of that. So once we've reacted off of that, we've actually pushed pretty cleanly off of that. So all I'm looking for is for us to come and take this low. I believe there's lots of liquidity in the market at this low. And like I said, fundamentally and so on and so forth, I'm expecting that to actually have happened. So what I'm actually looking at, and I'll obviously go through this more or less on the 15-minute, is something like this. Okay, so if we jump down to a lower time frame and we can have a little look for you guys in here. If we jump on the 15-minute, we had that really good trade play out yesterday. We've got a new high to a new low. We've got the decisional, which more or less took all of that liquidity and took that liquidity, which we've already taken. We then internally broke, haven't created a structure cycle, and started to push out of this. Off of that, we've also got this internal break and retest point here. So I actually do not mind actually selling off of this point here. Everything else to me is more or less filled. I don't really want to come up any further. I don't really think there's any imbalance up here. More or less, it's kind of, you have got this point at the top here, which it can obviously come towards because it didn't take that, did it? Equal highs. It actually can come up all the way up to here. But as you can see, it's just there's so much filled up here, especially you've got this inducement mitigation in here. There's probably a 5-minute point up here that's kind of, yeah, you've got a 5-minute point that may more or less may want to be filled. So what I'll do is I'm going to mark out this. This is kind of the objective, I guess, for the day. We have now induced into the decisional of that external 15-minute range. So I think this will give us a decent reaction. We've now internally broken. We've come down and retested and kind of pushed up out of that now. So what I'm kind of looking for is I don't think this point here will hold. I don't think this is a good enough point. I don't think it took any liquidity. It didn't really take any liquidity internally. I'm expecting this to be a trap. Okay, I think where we're coming from actually holds more weight than the current structure. So what I want to see coming into today is more or less just come in 50% of Asia and then look for this, and then I want to continue selling. As you can see by the movement of this, like this is more or less the complex pullback into that, but that's what I'm open to. I am also open to taking the high and then selling, given that this is now my current internal 15-minute range, which goes against my external, and that's where it kind of gets tricky with EU, but that's what I'm happy to do today. Pretty straightforward and simple, follows a lot of my rules, gives me an entry model as well, which is quite clean, and it's also created a supply to demand into a point that's already been mitigated. So you've got your two inducements. If we line up here, we have created this really, really strong point from a decisional. And given we actually induced into the decisional to the left, leads me to believe that I'm actually okay to use that. So that's what we've got there, and that's what I'm looking for today. Now, GU on the 4-hour I left has actually played out to a T from last week. So really, really clean. And it's following those fundamentals quite nicely. What we can do now is we can remove all of this here, and we can look at what we kind of want to see today. So on the 4-hour, exactly the same thing. I just want to sell through this point. I don't think it holds enough weight to hold. So we're just looking to sell. On the 4-hour, there's not much of in terms of retracement of anything we need. I'm more just less expecting a very, very small trap reaction of some sort to then push off. We're in this area that doesn't really hold any weight. We have medium induced into this area, but for me, doesn't really hold too much. It is a medium inducement into a decisional, so it does hold enough for a reaction. I'll obviously walk through that on the 15 minutes. So what I'm expecting is basically I want to see this on the 4 hour lose some strength and kind of just fall and make its way from where it is basically. Now I am open to obviously taking it off of the high as well, so I don't mind taking it from here or from here, and they're the kind of the two options. I don't expect this to come up all the way to the high. If it comes up here, I would say we're actually going to go bullish. But given current climate, what's going on, these are the two options I have. Down to the 15 minute, really, really clean areas in here, which are quite nice. We can remove that. Oops. Let me remove this. So what we've done is we've now induced into the mitigation, medium inducement into the mitigation of this decisional. So I still believe this is a smart money trap, but I believe it holds more weight now, given we have medium induced into this mitigation. So what I'd kind of be expecting out of this is a bit of a push through. So we have got an internal break with our extreme point here with really, really nice retest. We've made equal highs at this, and I'm expecting this area to be a smart money trap. So I don't want this area to hold. What this area does for the day will basically indicate how I'm going to treat it. So if this point doesn't come and take the high and take the retest, I won't be selling. But if it does hold and want to come down a little bit lower, I am okay to actually buy. Now, this is probably the internal break, which is the take of decisional as well. And we have got this supply to demand area that sits internally in here that has mitigated most of this. So all I would need to see is more or less price just kind of trap people in, take this low, come into this area, give me some type of minor inducement. I need to see that given that we haven't tested the decisional, and then buy to sell like that. So really straightforward and simple. That's what I want to see today. So I literally need to see, this is exactly what I need to see, like that. And that's what I want to see on the 15 minutes today. Okay. Really, really nice, straightforward. Understanding that this point does hold value. Like I said, we can also look at once this happens, once we catch the buy, this point holding, not holding, sorry, and coming up, taking this high, and then that's where we get that sell-off, because now this point does hold weight, given it has medium induced into it. Okay, so now it does hold weight, which makes it a bit interesting at 50-50, but I like sales long term, so I'm going to stick to that. 4 hour on AU, I'm expecting just to sell off this thing. We've created no bullish structure at all. We're not actually reacting from a point that holds any weight to push this back up either. And I think we're just coming for this bigger area, which I've got marked out. So all I'm expecting is now we've kind of done this. I want this to be a trap. We've now come up into this area. You might find we get something like that. Come and take that, or we get the same movement like that. And they're the two options I have. Really straightforward on AU coming into the week. Let's click that, and let's remove that like that. So as you can see on the 15 minute, we've come all the way down into this extreme area. We've got no decisional in this range, and we've actually kind of mitigated this area and moved on. So I'm not interested in this area at all. It's more to me just a smart money trap, holds no weight now. We've now created break and retest above our last point, which is also a structure cycle point, which mitigated the previous structure cycle point. So it's really strong. All I'm looking for is this point to be taken and then sell. Okay, we have created this, I don't see this holding, internal break. This is internal retest, which means it shouldn't hold from a standpoint of that anyway. All I'm looking for is basically to prove that this point's a smart money trap like this, come up, take all that liquidity, give me some type of minor inducement to slow down, and then look to take a selling trap entry off of this through that liquidity. Straightforward and simple, and that's all I'm looking for. Okay, I think it's very highly likely, and it fits all of my rules. So all I'm looking for the entry I've got to take has to be the trap entry. And that's where the confusion can kind of come here. I don't want to take the first inducement because that's the hard entry. I want to take the trap entry and use that and go from there. So really nice and straightforward. The pairs are aligned for the week. Okay, and then the DXY, I expect this just to keep pushing up. It might trap some buyers in, add some sellers in, and give us something like that. But we've induced into the mitigation, straight range, pull down, pull up. I'm expecting just to buy. So very nice and easy. Premium group down below. Got a lot more content coming on YouTube and Instagram this week in terms of educational content. So make sure you guys are subscribed and follow me over there. Premium link down below, all the free links down below as well. Any questions, jump in the comments, and let's have ourselves a good week. Something I will add as well is with market open for New York and probably London today, expect a lot of volatility. It may be actually worth sitting out today. And we've got a lot of news this week, I believe, as well. So keep an eye on that. Let's have a good trading week, and I'll chat to you guys soon.